what if the Roman Empire never fell? What if, instead of crumbling into dust and legend, it survived, thrived, and marched right into the 21st century? Forget what you learned in history class. Today, we're diving into a world where Caesars tweet, legions use drones, and Latin is the language of the internet. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride through an alternate timeline. First, let's picture the map. A modern Roman Empire would be colossal. It would likely stretch from the misty shores of Britain to the deserts of Mesopotamia, encompassing all of the Mediterranean, which they would still call Mare Nostrum, our sea. Imagine a single unified state covering most of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. No European Union, no separate nations like France, Spain, or Italy as we know them. Instead, you'd have Roman provinces like Gaul, Hispania, and Italia, all governed from the eternal city, Rome. This megastate would be a global superpower, rivaling the United States and China, not just in size, but in economic and military might. The political landscape of our entire planet would be completely redrawn. So, how would this empire be governed? The Roman system was surprisingly adaptable. It's likely they would have evolved from an autocratic emperorship into something more like a constitutional monarchy or a federal republic. The emperor might still exist, but as a symbolic figurehead, much like the British monarch. The real power would lie with the Senate, but a reformed, democratically elected Senate, representing citizens from every corner of the empire. Think of it as a massive parliament, with senators from Britannia, Egyptus, and Syria debating policy in a modern-day Roman forum. Local governance would be key, with provincial governors managing regional affairs, maintaining that classic Roman blend of centralized authority and local autonomy. Now, let's talk technology. The Romans were brilliant engineers. Give them 2,000 more years of uninterrupted development, and their genius would be off the charts. Roman concrete, which is already incredibly durable, would have been perfected. We see cities filled with magnificent structures that could make modern architects weep. Think aqueducts soaring over megacities and colosseums equipped with retractable roofs and holographic displays. Their famous road network would have evolved into a high-speed maglev train system, connecting Alexandria to Londinium in a matter of hours. And what about warfare? The Roman legions would be the most advanced military force on Earth. Legionaries would wear advanced powered armor, use plasma pila instead of iron javelins, and be supported by legions of combat drones. The Eagle standard would fly not just on battlefields, but on battleships and starships. Yes, a Roman space program. Imagine the first man on the moon planting a Roman vexillum and declaring, Veni, Vidi, Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. What about daily life? One of the biggest differences would be language. Latin wouldn't be a dead language. It would be the lingua franca of billions. English, French, and Spanish wouldn't exist, at least not in their current forms. They'd be regional dialects of vulgar Latin, spoken in the streets, while classical Latin would be the language of government, science, and literature. You'd scroll through your social media feed, which would be called the Acta Diurna, and read posts in Latin. Education would be heavily influenced by classical traditions, with every child learning rhetoric, philosophy, and the great works of Virgil and Cicero alongside quantum physics and coding. Culturally, the world would be a fascinating mix. The Romans were masters of cultural assimilation. They didn't just conquer, they absorbed and Romanized. So, while a unified Roman identity would be paramount, you'd find beautiful local variations. Imagine Egyptian gods syncretized with the Roman pantheon in a new, evolving state religion. Perhaps Christianity would have still risen, but it would have been co-opted and integrated into the state apparatus much earlier and more completely, with the emperor possibly even holding the title of Pontifex Maximus over a Roman universal church. The arts would flourish, with new forms of mosaic art, epic poetry about space exploration, and gladiatorial games transformed into a high-tech international sport, maybe a form of combat drone racing. But would it all be a utopia? Absolutely not. A modern Roman Empire would face immense challenges. The sheer scale of managing such a diverse and sprawling state would be a bureaucratic nightmare. There would be constant pressure from separatist movements in far-flung provinces demanding independence. Think of the Basques in Hispania, or the Celts in Caledonia, constantly pushing for their own sovereignty. Class divisions, a major issue in ancient Rome, might persist. A powerful, wealthy patrician class descended from the old Roman families could control the economy and politics, leaving a vast plebeian class struggling. The Roman emphasis on order and control could also lead to a society with less personal freedom than we're used to. A surveillance state where the good of the empire justifies everything. Every citizen might have a digital ID linked to a central census database, making privacy a forgotten concept. And what about the rest of the world? The Americas would have been discovered by Roman explorers, not Spanish ones. They would be Roman provinces today, their native cultures and populations having faced a very different, but likely still brutal, process of colonization. Asia would be the major competing power bloc. Imagine a world stage dominated by the Roman Empire and a powerful, unified Chinese dynasty, locked in a centuries-long Cold War, a clash of civilizations on a scale we can't even imagine. It would be a world of titans, a geopolitical chess game played across continents. So, a Roman Empire that never fell would be a world of incredible technological marvels and cultural unity, but also one of immense social challenges and potentially oppressive control. It's a world where the past isn't just a memory. It's the living, breathing present. A world of marble and microchips, of Latin and lasers. It forces us to ask, would we trade our chaotic, fragmented world for one of Roman order? The answer is as complex and fascinating as the empire itself. What do you think? Would you want to live in a modern Roman Empire? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into an alternate past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more trips through the great what-ifs of history. Thanks for watching. Vale.